Many Asians have lived, worked, and studied in the United States for years, but this could soon change. In 2025, President Trump is expected to implement new regulations that could significantly impact immigration from several Asian countries. Could your country be affected? In this video, we will explore the 7 Asian countries that Trump may remove from the immigration priority list in 2025. Stay tuned to learn more about these changes and how they could impact you. The 7th country, Laos. Laos is currently in the spotlight of President Trump's 2025 immigration plan, but not for positive reasons. The U.S. government has criticized Laos for serious issues with passport and travel document processing. Officials have accused Laos of issuing documents to individuals with unclear or fraudulent identities, making it difficult for the U.S. to accurately determine who is entering the country. Trump and his team argue that this security loophole puts Americans at risk, as it becomes challenging to control who is actually entering the U.S. Additionally, when a Lao national violates immigration regulations or overstays their visa, the U.S. requires them to be deported. However, problems arise when Laos refuses or delays accepting its citizens back. This not only burdens U.S. immigration facilities, but also significantly increases costs for the U.S. government. According to Trump, the solution is clear. If a country refuses to take its citizens back, that country should not be allowed to accept more immigrants. The consequence could be a complete immigration freeze for Laos. These changes will seriously affect many people, especially students from Laos, who may not be granted student visas. Workers will lose job opportunities, and families hoping for reunification will face long delays or even complete separation. For the Lao American community, these changes create real fear, as they may not be able to bring their relatives for visits or help them build a better life in the U.S. The impacts, both humanitarian and economic, will deeply affect both countries. Fewer people may travel, remittances back home will decrease, and fewer students will study abroad, meaning fewer opportunities for skill development and global ideas. This could slow down Laos's future development. Trump emphasizes that he wants to see improvements in security, honest cooperation, and efficient deportation processes. Until Laos makes the necessary changes, these restrictions will continue to be considered. Will Laos be able to restore trust and good relations with the U.S.? And what does this mean for young people, particularly those born under the Leo sign, dreaming of a bright future in the U.S.? So, what do you think about this situation? Do you think Laos can make the necessary changes? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to let us know where you're watching this video from. Now let's continue exploring the next country. The 6th country, Cambodia. Cambodia is currently facing significant pressure from changes in the immigration policy proposed by President Trump in 2025. The main reason cited by the U.S. government is the country's poor cooperation and concerning human rights record. Trump's team asserts that when a government does not respect the basic freedoms of its citizens, the ability to control and screen visitors, as well as issue safe documentation, becomes more difficult than ever. The U.S. is concerned that this could allow individuals with criminal backgrounds to easily enter the country, posing a threat to national security. An even greater concern is Cambodia's lack of cooperation in deporting citizens who violate U.S. laws. When Cambodian nationals overstay their visas or violate U.S. immigration regulations, the U.S. government demands they be deported. However, reports indicate that Cambodia frequently delays or even refuses to accept its citizens back, causing backlogs and increasing costs for the U.S. immigration system. President Trump argues that any country that refuses to take its citizens back should not enjoy the full benefits of U.S. immigration. While this decision may be politically motivated, it deeply impacts the personal lives of thousands of people. If the U.S. enacts an immigration restriction on Cambodia, thousands of students, tourists, and workers could lose their opportunities to come to the U.S. Cambodian families living in the U.S. may be prohibited from visiting their relatives back home. Exceptional students could lose opportunities to study, and skilled workers would be excluded from the U.S. labor market. In addition to the personal losses, this change could damage Cambodia's international image. If labeled uncooperative, Cambodia not only risks losing trust from the U.S., but may also face isolation from other countries. The ban could escalate tensions in business and tourism relations, putting further strain on Cambodia's already fragile economy. To avoid these severe consequences, Cambodia needs to implement substantial reforms. This includes enhancing passport controls, cooperating more effectively on deportations, and demonstrating a true commitment to human rights. Can Cambodia meet the US's expectations and avoid an immigration ban? Will this change provide an opportunity to improve relations or lead to a complete severance? Time is running out, and the outcome will have a profound impact on Cambodia's future for years to come. Stay tuned to see if Cambodia can make the necessary changes in time. The fifth country, Myanmar. Myanmar, another Asian country, is facing the risk of being excluded from the U.S. immigration program in 2025, according to President Trump's plans. The main reason for this move is the ongoing political crisis and serious human rights issues. Since the military coup in 2021, Myanmar has been in a state of turmoil, with violent protests, repression, and ongoing conflict. The U.S. government argues that countries in such chaotic conditions cannot conduct reliable and thorough background checks on their citizens. This creates a potential risk where criminals and extremist elements could enter the U.S. undetected. However, the U.S. concerns are not just limited to security. The Trump administration has criticized Myanmar for mass arrests, restricting freedom of speech, and particularly for the treatment of minority groups, especially the Rohingya people. These human rights violations not only reflect the lack of control by the Myanmar government, but also make the country an unreliable partner in immigration matters. The U.S. is concerned that if Myanmar's citizens are not protected at home, the country cannot be trusted to handle tourism and international documentation. Another significant issue is deportation. The U.S. claims that Myanmar does not cooperate in accepting its citizens when they violate U.S. laws or overstay their visas. This causes delays and places pressure on U.S. immigration facilities, leading to unnecessary legal challenges. If President Trump continues to impose restrictions on Myanmar, the consequences could be severe. Myanmar students could lose access to scholarships and educational opportunities in the U.S. Workers who have been employed in the U.S. may not be able to renew their visas, while families separated by distance may not be able to reunite legally. Particularly for those fleeing repression, the U.S. will no longer be a safe haven. This will have profound implications for Myanmar's future. If these doors close, the country will face even further isolation, especially as it will no longer have access to educational opportunities, training, or international investment. This is a critical issue, as Myanmar urgently needs support from the international community at this time. Will the Myanmar government listen to calls from the international community and make the necessary changes? Or will it continue to resist pressure and face even greater isolation? Stay tuned for the next video to learn more. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with important news from us. What do you think about the current situation in Myanmar? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The fourth country, Thailand. Thailand is currently caught up in President Trump's immigration battle. But the issue is not related to border security or terrorism. The main reason Thailand is under scrutiny is due to a controversial decision in 2015 when the country deported 45 refugees back to China. This action sparked international outrage, particularly from human rights organizations, which accused Thailand of disregarding the safety of the most vulnerable individuals. The U.S. government responded with sanctions, including a visa ban on officials involved in the incident. According to Trump's team, this deportation decision reflects Thailand's lack of trustworthiness in protecting human rights and maintaining international standards. The U.S. argues that if a country does not protect refugees, it raises serious questions about that country's moral values and whether its passport system can be trusted in controlling immigration. The incident also raised concerns that Thailand could be succumbing to political pressure from powerful nations like China. For the U.S., this weakness poses a significant risk, particularly when considering the global tourism and immigration system. Thailand is currently facing major challenges as the U.S. considers tightening visa regulations, which could directly impact students, tourists, and skilled workers from Thailand. Thai families living in the U.S. could face significant challenges in bringing their relatives over, and many universities and businesses could lose valuable talent due to long delays in visa issuance. This is a major blow to Thailand's economy, especially as tourism has just started to recover from the pandemic. Any restrictions on the tourism industry from the U.S., one of Thailand's largest markets, could result in millions of dollars in lost revenue. Thailand's education sector will also be severely affected, as fewer students will have the opportunity to study abroad and bring back valuable skills for the country's development. The potential immigration freeze sends a clear message to other countries in Southeast Asia. Human rights must always be a priority in international relations. If countries fail to protect refugees, they could face serious consequences from key allies like the U.S. What can Thailand do to change this situation? Will the Thai government be willing to adjust policies to protect the rights of vulnerable people and improve relations with the U.S.? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to hit like and subscribe to stay updated with future video analyses. The third country, Pakistan. Why does Pakistan appear on the list of countries that President Trump wants to restrict immigration from to the U.S. in 2025? The main reason is national security concerns. Over the years, U.S. officials have criticized Pakistan for harboring terrorist groups. While Pakistan has made efforts to fight extremism, President Trump still believes that these actions are insufficient to ensure the safety of the U.S. According to Trump, part of the reason is the country's weak cooperation in controlling potential threats. One of the biggest concerns for the U.S. is the issue of background checks. U.S. officials have said that verifying the identities of visa applicants from Pakistan is difficult and often lacks accurate information. Unclear or unreliable records allow dangerous individuals to slip through the cracks, and this poses a potential risk to national security. Trump emphasized that if the U.S. cannot thoroughly vet an individual's background, there's no reason to allow them entry into the country. In addition, the issue of deportation is also a key factor in this decision. The U.S. has criticized Pakistan for occasionally refusing to take back its citizens who violate immigration laws or overstay their visas. This creates pressure on U.S. detention centers and immigration courts and becomes a serious problem in the immigration system. Trump's team argues that this action shows a lack of responsibility in managing Pakistan's citizens and is a primary reason for tightening immigration restrictions. If these measures are enforced, the impact on thousands of people will be significant. Thousands of Pakistani students hoping to study in the U.S. may lose their educational opportunities. Professionals in fields such as technology, healthcare, and education will not be able to renew their work visas, resulting in significant workforce shortages in critical sectors. Families divided between two countries may face long delays or even permanent separation. The relationship between Pakistan and the U.S. has already been complex, and these measures could further strain the situation. If this ban becomes permanent, not only will the people be affected, but sectors like trade, military aid, and diplomacy will also be impacted. Critics of this policy argue that it harms ordinary people rather than addressing the root causes of security issues. However, Trump maintains that the safety of the American people must be the top priority. What do you think about this decision? Can the U.S. resolve security issues without affecting innocent people? Share your thoughts in the comments. The second country, Vietnam. Vietnam, a rapidly growing economy in Asia, unexpectedly made its way onto the list of countries President Trump wants to remove from the U.S. immigration system in 2025. But why Vietnam? The main reason lies in the issue of deportation. U.S. officials have stated that Vietnam has refused or delayed accepting back its citizens when they violate U.S. laws, overstay their visas, or commit crimes. Trump believes this creates a serious legal and security challenge, especially with those who have been in the U.S. for decades. One complex issue is with the Vietnamese individuals who arrived in the U.S. after the Vietnam War but never obtained citizenship. If they break the law, they face the possibility of deportation. However, Vietnam has not always been willing to accept them back. This situation is unacceptable to Trump, as he views it as a failure in handling its citizens. As a result, He has decided to stop issuing visas for most travelers from Vietnam. So what does this mean? Vietnamese students, tourists, and workers could face an entry ban or significant delays in visa processing. Family reunification, a deeply important aspiration for the Vietnamese American community, will also become more difficult, if not nearly impossible. This directly impacts thousands of Vietnamese families in the U.S. who hope to bring their parents or siblings to live with them. On the other hand, the absence of Vietnamese students in U.S. universities will significantly affect both the diversity and finances of schools. Vietnamese students make up a large proportion of international students in the U.S., and their absence will reduce valuable resources for educational institutions. Similarly, the restriction of skilled workers and experts from Vietnam could slow down the country's development, as Vietnam would lose out on opportunities for learning, knowledge exchange, and international training. Although the Vietnamese government has tried to refute the accusations, stating that many of the cases involve individuals who are no longer Vietnamese citizens, Trump's team firmly insists that someone born in Vietnam, even if no longer a citizen, must be accepted back. This is a tense legal and political debate, which will have widespread consequences for the relationship between the two countries. What will Vietnam do to address this situation? Will they be willing to cooperate and accept deported citizens back? Or will they face a complete closure of U.S. immigration policies? The outcome of this event will not only shape the lives of thousands, but could also determine the direction of U.S.-Vietnam relations for years to come. What do you think about this issue? Will Vietnam be able to cooperate to avoid a major immigration crisis? Or will there be a serious rupture between the two nations? Share your thoughts in the comments. First, Afghanistan. Why does Afghanistan top the list of countries that President Trump wants to completely ban from entering the U.S. in 2025? The main reason is security concerns. After years of conflict, war, and the return of the Taliban, Trump believes that the country is now too dangerous and unstable to accept immigrants. However, the question arises, is a complete ban the right solution? And what happens to the innocent people who just want to escape danger? The Trump administration claims that the Afghan government is unable to provide full background checks, making it very difficult to determine who is truly applying for entry. This leads to a major concern. Could dangerous individuals slip through the cracks? Is it fair to punish everyone due to a broken system? Another concern is the issue of deportation. The U.S. has criticized Afghanistan for refusing to take back citizens who have overstayed their visas or violated U.S. laws. This is a major problem, as many Afghans living and working in the U.S. need to be deported under legal regulations. But the Afghan government refuses to accept them back. So why would a country refuse to take back its citizens? Some argue that the Taliban's control has made it impossible for the Afghan government to carry out normal activities, including accepting its citizens. However, Trump argues that if a country doesn't cooperate, it shouldn't be granted visas to enter the U.S. This affects many people. Afghan students, workers, and families may now face visa closures. These individuals could lose the opportunity to study in the U.S. or miss out on job opportunities to further their careers. Families hoping to reunite may be separated for many years, leaving them feeling frustrated and fearful. Could this lead to stigma or discrimination? And might it prevent humanitarian aid from reaching those in need in Afghanistan? Particularly, another important question is, how will this affect Afghanistan's future? The fewer Afghan students coming to the U.S. could mean a lack of skills needed to develop the country. Will this ban slow down the nation's reconstruction process? The U.S. has stated that the ban will remain in place until security in Afghanistan improves. But how can the country return to peace if its people cannot access opportunities abroad? What should the U.S. do to protect security while also showing compassion for the Afghan people? Afghanistan is now at a crossroads, with close scrutiny from the world. And with Trump back in power, 7 Asian countries have made it onto his list. Immigration rules, visa policies, and employment opportunities could change quickly, affecting millions of people. So, what do you think about these decisions? Are they truly beneficial for the U.S., or do they cause more harm than good? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to stay updated with the latest information. Has your country been affected? What would you do in this situation? Goodbye, and see you next time.